Welcome back to Maven Analytics Guided Project Right on Data Decision. So if this is your first time, in the previous video, we actually did create this particular part of the dashboard, and you might be interested in looking at how we got everything created and how we actually got all the functionalities right here working. So the very first thing you have to do to follow along step by step is for you to make sure you use some kind of click on the playlist and watch the first video where we got our data transformed, cleaned, and get it ready for analysis, right? So if your focus is learning how to use Python, Power BI, and Microsoft Excel to analyze data and bring insight from the data, this particular channel will definitely help you to do that. So see you in the class. This second dashboard has nothing to do with the objectives we have right here, and as well the assignment plus the situation. But you know what? We just feel like there are more to the data than just doing something very basic. So we just want to take it a step further. If we look at the data right here, we want to actually draw something from this and draw insight from here and as well from here. And we want to actually add one more column that gives us some kind of time of day, like morning, afternoon, evening, and night, and see all the collision that happens within those days or those particular period, right? So which we don't actually have right now. We're going to add a column for that. So quickly, if you have not watched the previous videos or the first dashboard, you might want to do that because it's very important for you to know how we got this particular data transformed. This is our main data right here. Over here, we do not have some columns like the time bucket we created. We don't have it. The season we created, we don't have it. So transform is some kind of relying on this particular data. So you need to know about that. So the first video would be an ideal, right? So let us quickly look at what we're going to do next. So before I start creating, what is very important for me is for me to some kind of create a sketch of my dashboard. How do I want the dashboard to look? So over here, this is the previous one. We can add a new page and actually create a new draft or sketch of the dashboard we want to create. So I'm going to draw using this. So first of all, I'm going to just draw a rough sketch. So don't expect something good from me here. So because I'm not really good at drawing, so I can just do some kind of sketch. So here is our canvas. So we're going to have here just a mini header is important. And over here, we're going to have something like this, you know. We don't have to even talk about it because we already have it. So just want to duplicate it. But the content we want to have inside our dashboard right now should be 6 KPIs. So 1 here, this is the second one. So we have the third one. We have, I think we need just 5 of them. So we should have this one, and this one should be here. So we have to get to put 5 KPIs. So the previous KPIs should be repeated. That is the total collision here. So we want to have the casualty and the injuries right here. And right now, what we need to do is to actually get the highest risk time slot, right? Which is the time where we have more collision. And finally, over here, we're going to actually have the percentage of risk collision right in here. Among all the collision, how many, what is the percentage of the risk or the risk one? Okay, now we need to create a chart. This particular chart will capture for us the collision by location. So over here, we're going to have in that chart here. And what this chart is going to capture is going to be based on the vehicle type. So we're going to have something right here that is going to be a scroll. That this scroll will help us to get more information because we have lots of vehicle type. We can display everything on one single chart, right? So over here, we're going to have another chart here. Don't mind my rough sketching. So this particular chart, what is going to capture is going to be the top street. Like we're gonna do top 10 street with the highest numbers of collision. So we're gonna have something right here that will actually help us to sort from ascending to descending, depends on what we want to use. Because over here we're gonna have a dimension here. The dimension should actually be street name, and we're gonna have the total collision. So we're gonna have the injury, and the casualty will be right in here. Okay, we want to have another chart here, and what this particular chart will contain, a box or an object here. This object will actually contain slicer for month, right? Slicer for month, and over here is going to be a chart, and this particular chart will actually capture the total collision by time of day. So time of the day. So can you see? Very simple. Just have something like this. It will make your life so easy. Do you see this right now? So we did it before, and we check it out. This, and now it's this. So how do we follow this? Let's quickly go through how we can actually make this to appear on our Excel. So over here on our previous dashboard, we just have to duplicate this one, drag it to this particular plus here, and you have this. No. So you want to hold your control key while dragging it. So we have a duplicate of it. So all I want to do right now, I can just do let's some kind of reduce this. Once we have done this, to give us room to actually remove some certain things we don't want, by going over to the top here and click over home. From home, let's click on find and select, then click on select objects. So we can just highlight this environment here and take off whatever is here. We don't want them. So you can see the portion I've taken off. So the reason why this particular part is still here was because I didn't select it up to the top right here. So this one can actually be manually removed, or you can actually select this environment as well. So exclude what you don't want, even though if part of it is actually within your selection, but not whole of it. So it's not going to be included into what you're going to delete. So we'll take this off. This is what we want now. So we can now just go ahead and put this back to 100%. So here we go, right? So we need 5 of these. So I'm just going to create one more, or 2 more rather. So keep this one over here, and this one over here. So what I'm going to do right now is just to make sure I move this way. And right now, I want to make sure if I select, I will select these ones and bring it down to properly align it. Hold my control key, select this one, and I'm going to align this one to the top. Okay, now we have equal alignment now. But the problem we have right now is that this particular space here is not equal to the same space we have right here and the space we have right in here. Can you see? So how do we fix this? Because we already have something here, what I'm going to do now is just to go over to the same place to pick up this one. Right now, I'm just going to highlight this environment here. So once highlighted, right click and click on group to group it. So highlight this one, right click, click on group to group it. So highlight this particular one, right click, click on group to group it. So if we had known, what we would have done is just for it to get this one not created. So now we can just get this one here, duplicate it, move it, duplicate this one, now properly align it to suit the area you want to keep it. So once the white space you have here is okay, just hold your control key and this one. Now you're going to do align top. Okay, so we want to just make sure we select all of them now, and we go to distribute horizontally. So if you look at it right away, we're gonna have equal space here, 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 and as well here. Then we just have to make sure the white space here is equal to this particular one. All right, this particular two here, we want to change the color. So what I'm going to do now is to right click and go ahead and ungroup these two, this last two, ungroup them. So the images or the icons are not what we want to have here. We have to take them off. Let's go ahead and pick up the icons, illustrations, then we go to this particular picture, this device. So go to your folder, which is Maven Analytics Guided Project. So click over here. And right now, we want to go with this one. And let's go with this. So one accident and one time. So we want to make it as small as possible. Okay, for this particular part here, I want to have this one right in here. And for this very one, I want to have this one here. You see that now? Oh no, I think this is gonna be a duplicate of this one. Let's see if we have another image. Insert, illustration, this picture, this device. Okay, we can go with this particular one. So this is going to be better. So move it, resize it to give you something that will fit right. So let's just take this off because it's a duplicate of the first one. So we cannot keep this one over here. So now here it's not going to be this. This is going to be percentage of risk collisions. So we just have to stretch it a little bit. So the value will come here. This particular one should be time. Oh, I can just call it risky time of day, or just risky time will be okay. Can put here collisions risk time, just something very short that is descriptive. Okay, we have this. It is time for me to look at how to actually get their values right in here. So this alone, to calculate it, is going to take us a little time. So we are going to add another analysis. This time around, we call this one analysis 02 here. So once we have this, we need to create a fresh pivot table, and that is going to be from this particular data here, right? So we can shift this one to make sure we look at this. So we go to insert, and we use the existing. So we just want to pick up this one. Let's click here and click on OK. Now to have that KPI created, we need to create something huge before we can extract the kind of insight we want from it. So quickly, we want to get in the time interval right in here, the week name right in here, and now we bring the collision ID right in here, right. So if you look at it right now, it's giving us sum. So we want to change it to count. So better. So once we have gotten this now, we just have to go all the way to the top ribbon. So and go to design. So we want to turn up the grand total. So we quickly need to change it to layout to show in tabular form. We have something like this. So first of all, what I want to do is to actually grab the max collisions for every single time. And after that, I'm going to return the max week for every single time. Okay, this is going to be a tough thing to do, but don't worry, it's simple. Okay, how do we go about that now? So over here, I'm going to type in max collisions. So to capture the max collision here, what you're going to do is to use the max function. So we are using the max function to capture the max collision for this particular time over here. We don't need to lock down because we're going to copy it down. So this now helps us to retrieve the max for every single time. 4 a.m. to 8 a.m. we have the max, right? So once we have the max now, the next thing we have to do is to retrieve the max week. Which particular week does it fall to? How can we get what week is this particular 5, 7, 10? So 5, 7, 10 falls to Sunday, but 8, 4, 5, 5 does not fall to the same Sunday. It's going to fall to something different. So we have to make it dynamic so that if the slider changes it, it will automatically change. Otherwise, we can trace it and actually put them right in here. It will be static. So now over here, I'm going to type a different header. So here is going to be max week name. Okay. So to retrieve the max week name right now, what function do you have in mind? We have done something similar to this in the previous dashboard we did create. Can somebody come up with what we can use? I'm waiting. HLOOKUP? No. Index and match? No. Oh, let's do this. We're going to use the XLOOKUP to get this done. The HLOOKUP will do this, but I just love using XLOOKUP because it's easy. So I'm going to do XLOOKUP here. So with my XLOOKUP, it's asking me for what I'm trying to look up is this particular one. So where can we find it? You can find it right in here. Can you see it now? So should there be cell locking? Yes, we have to lock cells. Then watch it. If your F4 key works, so click your F4 key, second click again, and the third click would actually help you to lock this. So we are locking the column, so the row should be free. So if I go ahead now and put a comma here, it will ask me, what do I want to return? I want to return something from here. So we don't want the column. Should I call it a column? We don't want this to move. We want to make sure 1, 2, 3, then to lock it down and close. If I hit my enter key, I can explain this to you. So look at what happens if I move this right here. It gives me not working. Everything is moving now because I provided some kind of incorrect locking for one of them. So what is going on now is that over here, I freed the rows to move, I lock the column. So over here, I'm supposed to do absolute cell locking so that this particular part here shouldn't move, but I didn't do that. So let's do it. If I double click over here right now on this particular one, I want to make sure I press F4 to release the lock. So if we press F4 again, it will give us this particular $sign around the column, which means we have locked the column down. Absolutely, it's not going to move. So look at what happens if I copy this down. So if I double click over here, this one stays here. We are allowing this row to move, but the column, so we have free the row to move. We have locked the column. I don't know if you get it right. It's a little bit complicated to understand, but just follow my lead. With time, you understand how this particular cell locking works. So we have retrieved the right value right now. So for Friday here, the value is this. For Tuesday here, the value is actually this, which means it's retrieving the correct one for us. Okay, we can rename this to, let me just say KPI 1. So once we have gotten this now, this is what we're going to use to retrieve the KPI we want to actually show up right here. So you might be thinking, what the heck are you doing? Is this not too much work? But don't worry, you understand it later after all. So I want to make sure my back end is clean. So I'll do comma separator. So here we go. We can actually have this place opened up. Double click here. Beautiful. Okay. So right in here, I want to dynamically return the max lookup. The max collision weekday and its time. So how do I do that? How do I do that? So I'm going to do here max week. So here we give me max time. So here we combine both. Okay, to retrieve the max week and max time and combine both, what we need to do over here, we can actually use the XLOOKUP. So the XLOOKUP is going to help us to retrieve the max, but the XLOOKUP cannot do it alone. So we have to provide the max value we want. So we can use the max function here. The max function here, we come and retrieve the max value from here. Then once we close, we can now do comma. This is now our lookup value. This particular part here is our lookup value. So for the lookup array right now, we can now say come over here and actually find it. It's very simple. You get it right now. So if I go ahead and click on OK, no, we've not done it all. So we have lookup array. Now, what do we want to return? Let me make it easy for you to understand. So over here, I'm returning the max. The max is gonna be gotten from here. This is the max. So right now, I want to make sure I combine it together. So we now use the XLOOKUP. So the XLOOKUP right now is looking for lookup value. Here's our lookup value. So if I put up my comma here now, where can we find this? It's actually going to be within here, comma again. So once that has been found, what do you want to return? You want to return something from here. So this is what I was trying to do. In the other way around, let's say this one does not exist. What you would have done is actually going to be XLOOKUP and use the max function here. Then you retrieve the max from here. So once you have retrieved that, comma, so find the max within this particular range again. This is complex, so that was why I showed you the first one. So once you have done that, return something from here for me. So if I go ahead and close now, it's going to give us the same exact thing. You get it right now. So either of these particular two could be used. So the next thing now is to return the max time over here. So to return the max time now, we are going to use the XLOOKUP and the match function just like what we have done. So let's just do it again. XLOOKUP match, or we can use this same value here, comma. So once you have done that, find it over here. Once found, what you can do, return array should actually be here. So when I return something from there, it gives us this, right? So this is just we referencing this. To actually combine it together again, XLOOKUP. So we use the max function and we retrieve our max from here. So we close and we say come and find the max within this particular range again. Once you have done that, go ahead and return something from here for me. So we're still going to have the same exact thing. Can you see it now? We just having duplicates. So which means 2 ways to actually have it done. So the next thing now is to actually have both of them combined. There is one function I've not actually taught you. That function is called, I think it's called text. What is the function? Is to combine 2 different things together. So over here, I have 2 ways to do this. Can do text to join. So text to join, I can define my delimiter, should be space. So put a comma, then ignore the empty by using that comma again. So I'm going to actually reference the first text is going to be Friday. So if I put a comma right now, it will know that, okay, it has to put some kind of space between. I'll reference this particular one. Then I am going to go ahead and close. So now it's Friday 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. So another way to actually have this done is to actually do this, reference this, and over here you do ampersand, double quotes with a space, then you reference this one. So it will give us the same thing. So this one here has to do with this particular 2 ampersand here. And over here, we use a function, we define our delimiter in here. So whichever one you want to use, you are good to go. So we have gotten our result right now. Without this, there is no way we can get to know what time we have the highest collision and what week it is. Can you see this now? So this is not what is in the objective, but we feel like if we are working for this particular department to curb accidents, then we should actually be able to come up with something that will be able to actually allow the management to look into the data and feel like this is what should be done. So on this particular dashboard part here, it is time for me to fill up this. Let's go. Now I'm going to capture this environment. Let's do this by picking this or this. Any one of them would work. So here we go. We have this. If I click here, click on this one, you can just go ahead and. So here you go. So I want to make sure this one is smaller because it has more. So I can just reduce this. So let's do show everything. I can just have something like this. So Friday 4 p.m. to 8 a.m. is the risky time of the day. Okay, here we go. Now the next thing now is the percentage of collisions. So to get this particular percentage of risky collision right now, we just have to go back here. So once we are here, we can actually go ahead and copy this. So I'm going to paste this one over here. All right. So on this particular part here, what I'm going to do is to have this removed. So I want to bring in the check in here. And now we are going to get the week name removed as well. Then we need to actually bring in the contributor factor right in here. So we have brought everything. So we are only looking at the top 10 which we have used previously. If you forgot this, you have to go back to the first dashboard and watch what we have done there. So, but it's not really important. So what we're going to do right now is just to get the top 10, contributing factor to get the percentage of risky collision. So we right click here, we just go by filter, we take top 10, and we're doing the top 10 by collision ID, which is this right here. So once we have gotten this done now, the next thing we have to do is to actually turn on here. Okay, I can just put here total manually. Total, this total should actually be the grand total. So I'm going to do sum for this. So I'm going to just go ahead and do this. So over here now will be percentage of dangerous collision. Okay, we just go ahead and divide this by this. If I hit my enter key, I have this. I just have to convert this into a percentage. So here we go. Our interest is going to be on this particular part here, not on this particular one. So this is what we just want right here. So if we go over here now, so we're going to pick this one. So you see this now? So in the previous dashboard, we have this particular top 10 contributing factor by total collisions here. And those are the percentage of dangerous collision that we have. So you might not know what this means. What it means is this. The combination of the injured and the casualties together from the total accident that happened. When an accident happened, there will be people who are saved 100%, nothing happened to them. They are some kind of fine. They don't need to visit the hospital for anything. But those people who got injured or who died along the line, this particular percentage right here, which means out of 5,071, 66 people actually involved in either injury or lost their life. You get it right now. So now, out of 19,289 here, 39.7 people. So if we now go over to this particular KPI right now, so what we are looking at right now is this particular percentage here is all about the top 10. So let's say we don't want to base it on the top 10 just like what we have right here right now. Here is physical. We can look at it and we're able to actually draw the top 10. So let us make sense by not doing that over here. So which means I'm going to release this, get this one cleared off. So over here, let us release this particular slicer or filter rather. So I'm going to just copy this one down. You get it now. So I don't necessarily need to actually create this one over here. We can just create for grand total. So all I have to do right now is to do here collision. Sorry, it's a header. Total collision. Total check. So remember our total check here is actually on sum, but our total collision here is on count. So what I'm going to do right now is just to do the sum of this whole number. Control Shift down arrow to sum everything. So once we are done, we can just go ahead and do under sum again. So we sum this particular part here. So here we go. We have it. So now we can do percentage of dangerous collision. So to calculate that now, we're going to divide this particular number by this number. So here we go. We can go ahead and do percentage. So we have this. So which means out of this particular 238,421 collision that we have, 36.7% got involved in either injury or actually, lost their life. So which is this number here? Divide by this number. So if we go over here right now, this one here, we just have to make sure we get the correct value. Now, it's going to be this one. So if you look at it now, we are not more looking at, how do I put this? Looking at the top 10, because if we base it on the top 10, nobody will understand what we have done. So the only place we can do top 10 is on this particular first dashboard because it's a physical, thing. But over here now, we are doing it based on holistic data that we have. So 36.7 people got involved in injury or some kind of loss to their life. All right, so we have this right here, right now. We have just created our KPI, and this is actually beautiful. So if you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, please go ahead and do that right now. It's very important to make this particular channel grow. And don't forget to like and leave a comment. So let's keep going.